Yeah, I probably over-exaggerated that title, but I'm probably not too far off. Maybe the biggest mistake in Star Rail was building a community on Twitter. I'm sure some of these VAs would agree. Lucky for them, something else has been stirring up the Honkai Star Rail community for the past week or two. Our first tier 6, maybe even tier 7 character. HSR has had a long history of hype characters. Of course, there was the launch of the game with Seal, and then one of the coolest character designs to this day being Jinglu. Nice buff, by the way. Then we have Dill, who we didn't realize would start a trend of 4 stars getting separate forms. Kafka is arguably the most popular character ever. She has one of the most iconic trailers in Hoyo history. She's the most popular character in CN. She came out at the peak of popularity for Star Rail, you get the point. I believe Cyrene would be on the same level of hype as Kafka if she had released back then. An icon in the story, an amazing character design, and tugging at the heartstrings of everyone who played Honkai Impact 3rd. You can stop doing that, Hoyo, we get it. You're trying to call back to this game, but that's enough. We got the message the first 13 times. So I'm sure we all know by now what Cyrene does, but if you've been out of the loop, she's the first character in Star Rail to straight up blatantly state that she needs to be used with a Cryos Air to get the full value out of her kit. This is the first unit ever that will pretty much be unusable outside of her niche. I'm talking about a glorified cheerleader. And I'm sure some of you probably wouldn't even mind, but she will be doing absolutely nothing if you're not using her with an Emphorius character. This mostly has to do with her ultimate, which is unironically probably the worst ultimate in the game outside of her Emphorius teams. This ultimate takes the longest to charge and it isn't close. Why is this? Why does it matter if her ult takes so long to charge? That's because in a turn-based game, every turn matters, duh. If you were in denial about the partner character trope that Hoyo has been pushing, I hope you realize where that's gotten us today. The weirdest character ever that literally points you in the direction of a cast of characters that will be irrelevant before you even have the chance to fully build her if you didn't pre-farm. Tribby will literally have more value than Cyrene in the near future. And she came out in February.
You are nothing!
Specifically, E1 Tribby is so strong that it's a better investment to go for that instead of Cyrene and her Lycone. I'm so tired of this child character being stronger than most of the roster for this long in a game that has insane power creep. This is the one time I was ready for a character to be completely forgotten about by this time, but it seems like she just continues to have more and more use cases, and I'm sure Hoyo thinks it's funny that they showed us the better looking adult form, but instead we have this patty cake merchant that can find a way to slot herself in every single team in the game. I'm actually surprised that it took a character like Cyrene with this bad of a kit design for people to realize that these devs have no clue what they're doing in that dev studio. Because we've had awful kits all throughout Emphorius, and HSR has been going in this direction for a while now. First, we had Aglaya, who needed her E1 for energy issues if you didn't happen to pull Sunday. And then we have Castrus, who lives and dies by Hyacine, who is also the most broken sustain ever. I can't believe it took all of this to surpass Adventuring, but you get the point. I'm not gonna bore you with every single flaw in these Emphorius character kits. It's just a little odd to me that it took a unit like Cyrene to finally get the community to come to a consensus that this is not what you want in a kit, especially from an Emanator. This situation is probably somehow even worse than the global passive, which I still think was a bad thing, but you saw people still coming up with defense for that, and I still can't get behind it because a monetized global passive has no place in these games, no matter which way you spin it. But even copers that would defend anything don't see the bright side with Cyrene. This kit does not benefit anyone besides someone who needs any excuse to skip a character because you don't get any pulls anyways. And good luck getting those jades in this next MOC without Cyrene. And the thing that probably sucks the most about Hoyoverse is that once they see that Cyrene sold like crazy, they'll just do it again. We've seen it in the partner mechanic that we're all familiar with now, and other mainstream gacha games have also adopted this mechanic. But take Jiao Shou for example, or Malwika in Genshin Impact, wanting this girl that floats around with a pillow. Matter of fact, we're about to see Malwika Part 2 very soon, considering she sold very well. Columbina is right around the corner. I'm probably going to show you how much Malwika made on screen right now, and it will be 100% the same thing with Cyrene if she sells very well. She'll definitely still sell considering she has a great character design, and that's a bad sign for future units on this same level of hype because they will have the same fate. Another thing that Cyrene happens to do just by existing is cause horrifying HP inflation. HSR has actually done a pretty decent job of keeping it fairly under control for their standards, but for some reason, they decided that it was time to open the floodgates before 4.x. So guess what? Here we have a unit that won't have a job in 7 months, causing the biggest HP spike we've seen in Euphorius. So the backlash is justified. She's automatically a negative to the game, even if you aren't going to pull her. Let's get something straight though, she is absolutely an upgrade for the casters team. I don't think anyone is trying to say she has absolutely no use whatsoever, but if they are, it's just for the meme, which I get, and that's worth. But outside of that, even Euphorius characters don't benefit as much as you think they do. So I would be shocked if Cyrene got released and wasn't buffed in any manner, because I don't see anyone happy about her kit. Not a soul. I haven't seen one person say this is okay. Look, I'm just gonna casually scroll. I'm not even gonna cherry pick. Watch, there's going to be memes about Cyrene almost immediately. Oh, look, see? You could probably farm E6 contents by the time Cyrene gets her ult. This is the Cyrene mains Reddit. That's crazy. What am I looking at? I don't even know if I can. Dude, the JJK fan base has made their way to the Cyrene mains HSR Reddit page. Look at this, bro. What? What am I looking at, bro? What? Dude, look at this 2,000 upvotes. What? What is this? What is this thing? What the fuck? Can I zoom in on? I'm not gonna zoom in on that. What is going on? What? What is this? What is this, bro? Is this like an inside joke? I don't understand. Like, what the fuck? Okay, I'm done scrolling through this. This is creeping me out. I don't know. I've seen this face everywhere. Is this Hassan? HSR is already not in the best state and just riding this Hoyo popularity train. They have no real competitor to punish their mistakes. That competition could have came in the form of Ethereum Restart, but we all know by now how gacha PvP will never work. It's just completely pay to win. The only reason you probably even knew about this game is because everyone and their mom got sponsored to play it. If you were unfortunate enough to be around during the launch of this game, even free-to-plays were max refreshing in order to be ahead of everyone else while farming materials. Because the true endgame was the PvP, and the endgame is what keeps your long-term players to stick around. This game was unbelievably grindy to an uncomfortable level. If you put even half of the effort required to play this game into anything else, you could just get a job. If you're in school, make all A's on that report card. You don't want to play a game that requires 26 out of your 24-hour day. So Honkai Star Rail is undoubtedly better than this dumpster fire, and they have no competition within their niche. But HSR has been making awful strides for a while now, and this will only continue in Edo Star. They've done a pretty decent job of creating characters that are bad for the game, but make it to where you have solid points of defense. But Star Rail really needs to buff Cyrene and never do something like this again. So your word of the day is Stella. That's right, as in Stella Sora. And I might have to make a separate video talking about this game because for some reason, it seems like Hoyo paid a company to be greedier than them to make themselves look better. It's almost 2026 and we are still talking about a 50-50. But not only that, One of the worst gacha systems I've ever seen. Have we ever seen a game just double the price of pulls before the game came out? It's not that hard to be this far out of touch. The gacha space is in an odd place right now. You see what HSR is doing. They've been on a pretty hot streak of garbage, and the rest of the Hoyo games haven't been doing much either. Wuwa has no content. New gachas that have already come out have gotten pretty bad reception too, like Stellasora and Etheria, of course, and Blue Protocol. But at the end of the day, play what you want. Like, who cares? Because if you like how Cyrene looks, then go ahead and pull her. If I had the Jades, I'd probably pull her too. Free to play, of course. I wouldn't spend a dime on her. I wouldn't want Hoyo to get any ideas, and the next 5 units only last a month. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you have, you look good today.